Have you ever hit a wall around 2 p.m.? Foggy, unfocused, needing a nap you don't have time for? And then that same night, despite being exhausted all day, found yourself wide awake, staring at the ceiling? I see this exact pattern constantly in the homes I work on. Two problems that seem completely unrelated, and a lot of the time, light turns out to be a bigger part of the story than people expect. In my work designing homes, this comes up more often than almost any other complaint. To be clear, this isn't about blaming your home for how you feel. Sleep habits, screens, stress, and plenty of other things matter too. But one factor that's consistently overlooked, and often one of the easier ones to actually fix, is how much natural light is reaching a space during the day. In this video, I'll walk you through why that matters, the science behind it, and a few different ways to fix it. Picture a small home office. One window, and because of screen glare, curtains that stay mostly closed from mid-morning on. This is one of the most common layouts I come across, and it's rarely anyone's fault. A lot of homes were built with a hallway, a closet, or a second bedroom sitting between the main living space and the best window in the house. Apartments often have windows on only one side, so whichever room ends up as the office or study is whatever's left over once the bedroom and living room have first pick. The lighting in these rooms usually looks fine on paper. Warm overhead LED, bright enough to read by. But bright enough to read by, and bright enough for your body to register as daytime are two very different thresholds. That gap is usually the root of both problems. To put that gap in perspective, standing outside on an overcast day, you're typically getting somewhere in the range of a few thousand lux, even more under direct sun. Walk back inside, and a well-lit room might only give you a few hundred. That's not a small difference. It's often 10 times dimmer or more. You don't consciously notice it because your eyes adjust almost instantly. Your circadian system, though, doesn't adjust the same way. It's reading the actual brightness, not what feels comfortable to your eyes. Here's the piece most people miss. Circadian rhythm, your body's internal 24-hour clock, isn't set by your alarm or your habits. It's set almost entirely by light hitting your eyes. Bright, blue, enriched daylight, the kind you get outdoors, even under clouds, signals your brain that it's daytime. That signal suppresses melatonin, the hormone that makes you feel sleepy, and raises alertness. Indoor lighting, even good indoor lighting, is usually a small fraction of that brightness. So if you spend most of your day indoors, especially in a dim or curtained room, your brain never gets a strong daytime signal. That's the afternoon fog. Not laziness, just biology waiting for a cue that isn't arriving. And if this sounds familiar, you're really not alone. A lot of modern floor plans work against this by design. Deep, boxy layouts put desks and living spaces far from windows. Renovations often add walls, closets, or a second bathroom between the window and the room you actually spend your day in. Even the open plan trend, which is supposed to let light travel further through a home, often ends up concentrating all the daylight in one big living kitchen zone, while every other room gets whatever's left. Apartments and condos usually have it hardest, since windows are often limited to one or two sides of the unit, no matter how the rooms inside are arranged. With more people working from home now, it's common to spend 9 or 10 hours a day in a room that was never designed to catch daylight in the first place. It's not a personal failing. It's a pattern I see constantly, because on the surface, the room always looks completely fine. Now, back to that second problem. lying awake at night. Here's how it connects. Without a strong daytime signal, your internal clock drifts later. So even if you feel drained by afternoon, by 10 or 11 p.m., you might suddenly feel wide awake, usually in front of a bright screen, under cool white light, sending your brain the exact opposite signal it needs at that hour. Without meaning to, you end up telling your body to stay alert right when it should be winding down. Two problems that often trace back to the same overlooked cause, just showing up at opposite ends of the day. Before we get to fixes, here's a quick way to check your own room. On a normal day, sit at your usual spot, desk, reading chair, wherever you spend most of your time, and notice whether you need a lamp on to feel like the room is properly lit, even at midday. If the answer's yes, that's usually a strong sign. Your body isn't getting the daytime signal it needs either, even though the room looks completely normal to your eyes. Here's what I usually recommend. Roughly in order of effort. You don't need all of these. Even the first couple make a noticeable difference. The easiest changes cost nothing. Move your desk or favorite chair closer to the window instead of the wall farthest from it, and keep that light path clear. Open blinds fully during the day instead of leaving them half shut for glare. A sheer curtain or diffusing film cuts glare without blocking daylight the way heavy drapes do. A small step up. Swap finishes near the window for lighter, more reflective ones. A pale wall or a mirror angled toward the window can bounce daylight much further into a room than you'd expect. In the evening, switch from cool white overhead lighting to warm, dimmer lamps after sunset. Tunable smart bulbs that shift from cool bright to warm dim on a schedule can automate this for you. If a renovation is on the table, that's where bigger changes pay off. A skylight or solar tube can bring daylight into a room with no exterior wall to work with, and a light shelf above a window pushes daylight much deeper into a room than the window alone. And if something outside, overgrown bushes, a deep awning, is blocking a window you already have, trimming it back can be a 5-minute fix with a real effect. One thing worth keeping in mind, especially in a hotter climate, more daylight can also mean more heat, particularly through west-facing windows in summer. In that case, it's worth pairing these changes with something like UV filtering glazing, external shading, or adjustable blinds. So you're not trading a fog-free afternoon for an overheated room. I've seen this play out again and again. Sometimes it's as simple as moving a desk a few feet. Other times, it takes a combination of 2 or 3 small changes. But within a couple of weeks of making even 1 or 2 of them, the afternoon fog eases, and falling asleep gets noticeably easier too, because evenings finally feel different from a continuation of daytime lighting. None of this replaces good sleep habits or managing stress. But light is one factor that's easy to overlook, and often one of the simpler ones to actually fix. If either of those two problems sounded familiar, it's worth spending 5 minutes actually looking at your own space. Not how it looks, but where the light is, and where you actually spend your time. If you want more of these home and well-being breakdowns, subscribe and let me know in the comments. Which one hits closer to home for you? The afternoon fog or the wide-awake nights?